This episode is sponsored by 1 Minute Calm. Breathe, live, and love the moment that you're in. Hi, I'm Christina, the creator and founder of Zemoff Entertainment. I want to welcome you to another episode of Health, Wealth, and Happiness. Well, hello everyone, I'm Christina. I want to welcome you to our next episode of Health, Wealth, and Happiness and our next guest. She's a musician, she's a lawyer, she's a creative, she's an amazing, powerful, exciting, fun woman to be around. This is April. Hi, April.
Hi, I'm a non-attorney, by the way.
Oh.
I'm not a practicing attorney, but that's okay. I mean, I've been called worse than lawyer. I have an executive Juris Doctor. What that is it is a doctorate. It is a professional law degree, but it is different than a Juris Doctor. It's kind of a newer thing. It's come out like the past 15 years or so. It's there for business professionals, business owners, internal people, paralegals that want to have a high level of legal background. I guess if you wanted to have a comparison out there, you have a doctor and a nurse practitioner. Since 2009, I opened my first practice up, Aaria Consulting, in 2010. And 2017, actually 2018, I loosely affiliated with Princeton Disability Advocates. There were some fallout there with their head management. We won't get into that on national television. Is that what we're on now?
International.
But anyway, so I ended up taking over as president, and we've had a great run with Social Security disability cases. And because of, and I'm honored to say this, because of community demand and demand of some of my high-powered colleagues out there, I'm going to be relaunching Aaria under a reimagined business model. We're going to call that, well, it is called Aaria Connect, AARIA-Connect.com. We are going to be offering the Social Security disability representation, veterans, and we are going to be helping folks that need assistance with their Medicaid applications, especially loved ones that are like, oh my gosh, I need to get my mom or a family member or somebody on Medicaid. I don't have the time to get this taken care of. Maybe the person's going into a nursing home, and the nursing home they need a liaison. We are able to help with that. And we're also going to be offering education to the community, commercial, such as if you're a medical facility and you need help with education, or you are an individual and you're like, hey, I don't want to hire an advocate, but I want to know how to help myself with a disability, or a loved one with a disability application. We're going to be offering education courses like nobody else has out there.
Well, I have as your health word, spirit. Tell
Yes.
me what you mean by spirit.
The spirit is you, the electricity, the peace that drives you. If you think, and you hear the voice inside your head talking to, the piece that's in there, your awareness, that's you, okay? It has nothing to do with April or Christine or, Joe Schmuckatelli. It doesn't have anything to do with who you are as a person. It's the inside. It's who you were before you were you. People call it their soul. People call it, you have to focus from there and say, I'm thankful for this opportunity to be here and to go through these challenges so that I can grow. We might not know what that, some people call it God, some people call it, if you look at all religions, it kind of, it's kind of a common unity thing. I'm not going to preach, religion here, but that spirit is, ultimately who you are. and who you're going to be when you're not here. And if you're not nurturing that and embracing that experience and focusing on that first, beyond your money, beyond having a coach purse, beyond whatever political movement is this or that, or whatever dumb thing is happening on TV. If you're not focusing on that first, you're not growing. And if you're not nurturing that, you're not nurturing your body, because this, if you're focusing on this and you're nurturing this, it'll take care of everything else around you. It's a proven fact that, attitude, will help you overcome everything. And I know this because I've been through some really rough times. And the fact that I overcame them had everything to do with something from within me that was stronger than me at the time. And I was able to be a healthier person and a happier person. And I know that came from my spirit. And it took care of all those things. So when it comes to when I'm like, oh my gosh, that's it, I'm losing it, take a hot bubble bath with salts, bath salts, and April, have a little more than bath salts. Epsom salts in your bubble bath, and then you meditate. You just focus. You go inward first. And a lot of times you can sort out some of the stupid stuff. And if you can't, you find that it's maybe something that you just need to set aside. You're not going to have an answer to for now. And what you will find, I think 50% of the time, is that it wasn't important in the first place, because you'll just forget about it. And I try to tell my nieces and nephews that, there's not a lot of guarantees in life, but one guarantee I can tell you is the poop that's bothering you now isn't going to be important, not even 6 months from now, but certainly not 15 years from now, when you're still going to be young and vibrant. And I think that comes from here. And that spirit's going to take care of your health, everything else, but it's certainly going to take care of your health. It's not just about jogging and running in biodegradable toilet paper and, eating organic food. You can do all those things and still be a miserable human being. I lived in LA. I saw a lot of that around me. Really unhappy people eating a lot of organic food and wearing a lot of great yoga pants, but they were not fulfilled, and I saw some other people walking around just basically burlap sacks, but probably the most fulfilled and content human beings in the world. And I found that very inspiring. So anyway, that's spirit, that's health for me.
So do you have somebody who influenced you and to teach you about spirit, or is it something that you felt in yourself or learned? How did that come about for you?
My grandmother, my mom's mom, always had inspired me, and her just open. I mean, she was definitely a Christian, but she was very open about it. And I think she had like the true understanding of Jesus, as in, if Jesus was here today, he'd be a hippie. He'd hang with anybody and love anybody, because that's what he did back then. And my grandmother's big thing was, you can't judge that person. You don't know what they're about. She hated it when people talk bad about somebody. You knew when you really made grandma mad because she said something, because she just would, her big thing was, you just can't judge people. And she just was open, and she saw God in like the most wonderful things, like a birch tree, or, the flowers that my uncle would plant all over the yard. She just, so that. And my uncle got me into Tolkien. And I know this is going to sound really strange, but the Tolkien books, the real Tolkien, not just Lord of the Rings with gorgeous Orlando Bloom, Legolas, oh my God. But the books, and the way that the Professor Tolkien, way he described nature, the way that he could describe in words the way the nasturtiums trailed down, Bilbo's windows in the front of his little house, and the sound of the brook, the bubbling brook, and really seeing the universe and love and beauty through nature. My uncle got me into that kind of stuff. And when I was going through my difficult times, after my second divorce, I sought got a very like holistic kind of counselor. And that person I saw for 10 years. And he introduced me to meditation, teachers like Pema Chodron, American born, um, not afraid to swear, Buddhist nun. Got to check her out. Awesome. Her audiobooks are wonderful. And like Eckhart Tolle and some of those, you listen to those kinds of teachings and they really just kind of help you understand that, hey, forget about all this out here. Look at the real test. Look at who you really are. All of those teachings really helped me to just focus on what I really love the most, the reading, what I really felt in music, what I was really here to experience. And it was, what was really going to make me grow, helping people, and what was really going to make me happy. It was way beyond all these things I thought I was attached to. So I guess those experiences combined, and it's just my family, my mom and my dad's mom too. I mean, they each had such different ideas and backgrounds in spirituality. But I was able to combine all those things. And then the people that I work with when I worked in LA, it was a company where the owner supported people that had green cards and wanted to become American citizens. He supported that. And we would have little parties and people got their citizenship. It was really awesome. But everybody had, they were a lot of Chinese, Vietnamese, there were Mexican, Cuban, all these different people, Armenian. And I was introduced to all these different traditions. And they're beautiful. And to be able to participate and learn from all those different traditions and share in those. I guess you combine all that and you find out how big the universe is, how beautiful it is, and how there's so many different paths to the same truth. And really, if people they're, this all this war and all this silly stuff, it's like, oh my God, you guys are all, you're rearranging deck chairs on the Titanic. If you all just it's all the same stuff. Why are you all fighting about it? But at the end of the day, it's already inside of you. People fight with themselves over nothing, and fight amongst themselves really over nothing. Everybody's seeking the same thing. They just don't want to stay. Nobody wants to suffer. Everybody wants to be happy and they don't want to be afraid. Those things. They want to know that they're going to be able to eat, take a bath, paint their toenails, smile, and have something to eat and take care of their children. That's it.
If you could sum up for someone who's in that spiritual search, how would you sum it up for someone who's looking for that for their own health?
A lot of it would depend on their particular situation, but a lot of it is take a look at the circle of people around you. You probably need to step away. That's probably your first step. And it might even be your family. Some people, that's their toxic circle, but it's usually taking a look at your environment, whatever you think you're trying to fit into, whatever you think you're trying to identify with. That is what's getting in your way. There's a lot of movements out there, and it's fantastic. There's a lot of movements, and movements can be good, but they're all sock puppets on the same head. They are different political parties and different crazy politicians and different ideas, even religions. They're all sock puppets on the same head, if you will. I'm not going to say good or bad, but they're all the same thing. And if you are in just groups of people, I want to be an actress. I want to be an engineer. Okay, step back from that for a second. What is it why do you want to be that thing? Is that going to fulfill what you really want? Or is that what you think everybody wants you to be? Or do you think that that's going to help you meet some kind of criteria that you think that you need to meet? Most people are going to say, well, that's because I have to do this, or this because this is what's expected of me, or it's because I'm going to prove to these people that I'm not that if I become this. If you get away from that, that's your first step. And a lot of times people will find that's the first step of getting themselves away from addiction as well. Is get away from that thing that you're trying to identify with, or the thing that you think is oppressing you, because it's really not there, you know. And that people are like, no, it's right there. I can see it. I can see it. And I'm telling you, I went through that experience, and it's not there. I don't drink. I don't smoke. I don't do drugs. I don't do anything. And as I'm saying this stuff from with a clear head, and so I know what I'm talking about. If you just step back, and it's scary because you're thinking, no, I mean, this is my dream, or this is this. Is it really? You have to really, and you just talk to yourself secretly, because it's yourself. Yourself's not going to tell on yourself, and say, self, do I really want to be that basket weaver? Or in the back of my head, do I really want to be an opera singer? And I know everybody will laugh at me. Yeah. If you want to be an opera singer, go be an opera singer. If you want to be a circus clown, by all means, go be a circus clown. And if you think your family's going to hate you for it, well, they might, but you are going to be happy. But if you go and you be a doctor because you think that's what your family wants you to be, and you're going to make great money, and you're going to marry the right woman and have the right little kids, and you're never going to have that fulfillment. You're really not going to be happy, no matter how accomplished of a doctor you are. So you have to think about those things. So anyway, that's my infomercial on that subject.
Your wealth word is inner peace. Oh,
Yeah. I'm kind of like, just put me out there like Snow White with little birds on my fingers. Oh, yeah. Um, well, and it just leads right into it, because all those things connect to one another. Because if you are in search of the right thing, if you got your vibration on the right things for you, the right stuff starts coming. Now, I'm not saying, you see these things on YouTube that say, if we're doing the right thing and attracting the right stuff, well, it's true. Now, granted, very few people are going to say, okay, that's it. I'm gonna start having a better attitude today, and a 2-ton brick of gold lands on their desk tomorrow. Well, that's not going to happen that way. You still have to nurture that dream. You still have to do your part of the work, but you have to love yourself. You have to say, okay, I am going to start at least trying to eat right. Again, you don't have to go full blown biodegradable toilet paper, and you don't have to go full blown into I'm only going to eat chickpeas and chia seeds. You don't have to do that. But okay, listen, I'm going to quit eating Taco Bell every day for lunch, and I'm going to try to do some things that are better, like no more fast food except Saturdays, and just little steps, baby steps. I'm going to start taking a vitamin. I'm going to actually go get a PCP, because I don't have a regular doctor. I can make my clients do it all the time. Take that bubble bath. You don't have to have a fancy bathtub. Your bathtub can have rust stains in it. Clean it up real good. Get the little thing, the little kids' bubble bath stuff from the dollar store. You can go sit yourself in the bathtub. If you're not well enough to get in out of the bathtub, well, soak your feet once a week. Little things to love yourself, and to say, I am not going to feel any shame. My place isn't the best, but I'm going to clean it up. I'm just going to pick up, or I'm overwhelmed and it's a total mess. So I'm just going to clean up the dishes and the food mess, and I'm going to fold the laundry up and put the clothes away. And you might still have clutter every place else, but that's okay. I've done this much. And the next weekend, I'm going to get rid of all the dead plants out of the house. And the next thing you know, your place is looking pretty good. And then maybe you're going to paint it, and then little whatever. But those things, that little bit of self-love, you start meeting things in the middle. And the next thing you know, what's going to happen when you're doing those little things is a neighbor is going to come by and say, wow, look at your place. I've got this, or let me help you. Or the universe does start to gift you. Things are going to come in. You're going to see, oh, gee, the insurance company forgot to send you that dividend, or you're going to see those little things. And it's not a joke. If you start brightening yourself up, or you're going to think of things, or you're going to feel good enough to go get that part-time job, or you're going to feel good enough to apply for the promotion, those things just roll into one and you feel good. And some of this will just occur to you while you're sitting there soaking your feet in your messy room. Self-love, inner peace. There you go. It works.
When is a time in your life or in your everyday that you have that sense of inner peace? What brings that to you?
Driving back from the office, I don't care what the youth think. There's 2 heavy metal channels. They see the old broad with the bun on her hair and the suit on, rocking out to Sanitarium by Metallica. Or if I'm really feeling it, I'll have the dance channel on and and I'm jamming. I don't care. It feels good because those vibrations, it's my vibrations, and I feel it with classical music on up to Metallica. Whatever my mood is, I'll blast that music and let that carry me away. And my hair might even be going. I don't care. It feels great. And people look at me. What I love is some of the young ones will look at me going, yeah, look at the old broad, but it's, it feels good. I've been writing again, and I built myself a girl's version of Geddy Lee's #1 bass, Geddy Lee from Rush, jamming on that. And it feels good to know what I'm writing and why now, and not just this has to be a 25-year-old mad girl song. I hate boys. Boys really stink. It doesn't have to be that anymore. That feels good. And then I feel, of course, when I've accomplished something for a client, or I've been able to teach something to a colleague, or we come to something for a client's case, feels good. That's but I think when I really, really come to it is before bed. A lot of times I like to try to come meditate, the incense and the just quiet time. But music, coming to that vibration and just letting loose in that world things around me. I do it all the time. It's never going to end. But yeah, I would say, just letting loose and enjoying what I enjoy. My neighbors know I'm nuts, and and I have a good time with it. And when I'm gardening, honestly, when I dug up some of my uncle's perennials when he passed away. And I think of him every time they start popping up in the spring, and I get out there. It's a creative process to house something so beautiful and diverse and crazy or edible or even deadly can come from this little bitty seed that I stuck in the ground. And, that's it. Those are the things I think that I don't think about it. It just kind of happens.
To April's inner peace. I'm Sylvia, and I've been asked for another piece on health, wealth, and happiness, and this is about the wealth. Let me just say, I'm fortunate to be able to put the funds away to spend on places like this, because let me just tell you, these tickets are kind of pricey, and there's nothing, so you better come here and you enjoy it. You get here in the morning, you pay for parking, you enjoy it all day, you pay for eating, you pay for drinking, you pay for more drinking because they have adult beverages too. But this is the fun. And see, the sun is going down, and you got to keep having the fun. And if you need a little bring your jacket with you, you do. That's the share the wealth here. But you've got to share these things with yourself. And there's nothing wrong with sharing those moments and doing those things that are right for you. Yes, I'm Sylvia. Enjoy your episode. Your happiness word is self-esteem. Now, that's a big word that affects people throughout their life, from childhood, teenagehood, into adulthood, and on to, being like a real adult, whatever that means. Tell
I haven't met that yet. I'm never adulting. My husband and I are like two sixth graders that that somebody allowed to have a house together, like right over here, right in my office here. It's my Mulder and Scully Barbie doll, my X-Files Barbies. Isn't it great? I know. But it's we've got Lord of the Rings and Star Wars things everywhere. We had a Star Wars wedding. We had lightsabers. It's fantastic. But self-esteem, I spent most of my life without a lot of self-esteem. There was just things that, it was hard, I think, really for my younger brother and I, because my dad, he went into the military when I was 2. And then there was a lot of moving around there, especially for me. My brother was born in the middle of it. And then my dad went on a Met cruise and we moved around some more. So it was a lot of change and stuff. And for me, I just it was the same weird person that I am now. And I think kids didn't really know how to take me. The teachers didn't know how to take me. And back when I was a kid, they didn't know how to deal with ADHD, which I definitely was suffering from. They didn't know how to deal with, when they finally tested me, they found out my scores were way up here, but they wouldn't let me go to the gifted classes with you guys because, well, her grades aren't high enough. And my mom's like, well, if you put her in there with them, her grades would be high enough. So I screwed around. Remember, I would clown around all the time. You guys would turn on the classroom and I'd have my hair all static standing up because I read my grammar book from cover to cover in the 3rd grade and they couldn't figure out that I was bored. Mm-hmm. So what they did with me early on is they would take my desk because I would get distracted and I'd be looking at kids. I would clown, whatever. So they took my desk and they set me aside off to the corner. So I was like ostracized. So naturally I got teased and it was weird. And I didn't understand because I just wanted everybody to be my friend. And it took me a while to go from where everybody picked on me to all of a sudden everybody liked me, which was cool too. But then you get into adulthood and you really don't know how to balance that. And I guess I didn't really believe in myself until after the whole Hollywood thing, until I decided, okay, you know what? I'm done scraping my knees. The only person that's going to fix my life is me. And I started trying that and I started achieving things. And I said, okay, wow, look at me. I can do this. And I think we still all struggle, no matter how successful we are. We also struggle with self-doubt. And if you read anything about Buddha, where he sits under the tree and he becomes enlightened, the little arrows coming at him, I kind of equate that to self-doubt. You have to allow yourself to have some self-doubt. You have to allow yourself to be critical of yourself. Say, okay, well, I'm being critical of myself, but then realize that you're being more critical of yourself than anybody else is being critical. And the person that you think is being critical of you is also being critical of themselves. And if they're being critical of you, they're being twice as critical of themselves than they are of you. And nothing has ever gotten achieved by worrying about it. And especially for women, the world is all about women doubting themselves. The media, society in general says, women, you're just not important. You're not important. You're not strong enough. You're not smart enough. You're not worth as much. And by God, you don't look good enough. Says who? We worry about it more with each other. I mean, there's some narcissistic men out there, but most men really don't care about our contour, or this and that. My husband does not know the difference. If I've contoured my face, or if I've walked out, and only thing that he really noticed if I walk out with one of those like kitty cat watermelon things stuck to my face, those facial things, he might say, wow, what are you doing? Yeah. So I think we are our own worst critics, at all times, in all situations. I've had many different jobs. I've had several different career paths. I've lived in many different places. I met all different kinds of people. I've argued disability hearings at 70 different hearing offices across the country, which I know is more than most of my colleagues out there. You can think that I have a lot to be critical of myself about. And people look to me and say, April, you are so amazing. You're so this and you're so that. I have just as many stains on my laundry as you think you have on yours, And so, everybody has been through it. Everybody has something that they're not proud of. And those are things that you should learn from. Those are things, okay, those are my failures. And they've taught me, they've made me stronger. And they're a fiber of you. Think about a rose bush. Do you think rose is proud of its thorns? Such a beautiful plant, and it's got roses. It's kind of like a beautiful woman with a deformity. If you think, she's still beautiful, but she's got a thorn. Just be careful, At the end of the day, you have to know that you are being twice as critical about yourself as somebody is of you. And if you've got somebody around you that's that critical of you, they're probably a narcissist, and they're probably not somebody that you should have in your circle. If you have somebody that's continuously making you doubt yourself, no matter how much you love them or you think they love you, no matter whether it's a biological connection to you, a romantic connection to you, somebody that you depend on economically, you're not going to die if you go broke for a while. You need to disconnect yourself from somebody like that. I think, mental abuse is probably worse than physical abuse. And if somebody is taking away your self-esteem, they're taking away more than stealing money from you or beating on you or anything like that. So
when you think about balancing your personal self-esteem now, and if you could give advice to that girl who's just getting out of high school and she's trying to make life decisions and she still has all these voices in her head, what kind of advice would you give to that girl in self-esteem?
Well, if I was going back to myself, I'd look at her and tell her, don't. I was talking to myself. But and it's okay because you're thinking, oh, this is going to work for me and that's going to work for me. It's very rare. Can you make decisions? Should you make decisions based solely on the relationships that you might have going on around you with friends or romantic relationships at this stage in your life? It seems like that's everything. It seems like that is absolutely everything to you. Oh, he or she is the best person, and that you are going to grow and change and evolve, you and the other person, so much that it might not be the best connection. And if it is, it will come back to you. It will come back to you. I've known my husband since he was 14. It happens, people come back into your life if it's meant to be. So, that's the first thing you need you have to look past that. You have to look through that, and you have to, again, come into yourself and go, what is most important to me? You need to be okay with the fact that you might try a lot of things, that what is your dream right now could evolve and change. And that's wonderful. That's okay. But what's in your heart, what you think you really want to try, you want to do it. Your brain is still developing. Your knowledge and understanding of the world might be robust because maybe you had to take care of yourself a lot. A lot of these kids are raising themselves these days, unfortunately. And so they know more but less than our generation did on certain things. So, but your brain is still growing. So you need to go out there with an open mind and say, okay, something looks good, I'm going to try it. This educational path looks good, I'm going to try it. But you don't have to be married to it. The school is telling you, your parents say, you got to pick a major. You got to pick a major. I had like 5 majors until I came back around to the legal thing and finished up. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with saying, I need to breathe for a year before I go to college. That's okay too. you have to make the decision for you, not what the school, not what a parent, not what a team or a coach is pressuring you to do. You need to listen to that adult advice and take it for what it's worth. But you have to do ultimately what is making you happy, because what makes your mother or your father happy, what makes a coach happy, what makes a teacher happy, what makes a romantic partner happy should not be the first thing on your list. It should really be the last thing on your list. That is the thing that you need to sit and focus with, and know that your mind is going to change. Your tastes are going to change. Your ideals are going to change. Your motivators are going to change. And your core dream might not ever change. That's okay. But all those other surrounding and motivating and influential factors will. And that's the beautiful thing about growing up and aging, and it doesn't change as you get older. You're the same ding dong that you were when you were 6. You're still the same person. How'd I get here? So, and that's not a bad thing. That's cool. You still keep that same inner person. That's not going to go away. That's just going to evolve. And so know that, take that as a token of freedom, that's take that as inspiration, that you're going to be free to remain you, and you don't have to make all these definite decisions, and they're not life or death. You can change your mind and go. So you can, you know, run with that and make it about yourself. And if somebody's got a problem with that, they need to come out of your decision making circle. Absolutely. That's what I would say to that person.
If you could give the gift of health, wealth, or happiness to someone, what would it be and why?
Certainly to somebody, to anybody in our downtrodden communities, whether it be a minority or just woman or homeless, veteran, somebody who is disadvantaged in any way, that's just not getting, that they're sitting there feeling that they don't have the opportunity. They sit down and just kind of turn on the light switch and say, "You do." There's this little parable where there's this beggar and he's sitting on a box, and a wise man walks by, and he says, the beggar says to the wise man, "Got any change?" And the wise man says, "Why? You're sitting on a box of gold. Just get up and look under the box. You're sitting on the gold." In other words, the beggar, you have the ability. You have it. You just got to decide. You have to, and just sit down and be able to explain, or hopefully, I don't want to say explain, but inspire that person to say, "Listen, if I could come out of my dark tunnel and be the person that I am today, anybody can." I came out of some dark times and was able to climb out of that and run a company, hire people, teach people, get people their benefits, get people out of homelessness, and it's nothing, I'm not bragging about that. It's a gift that I'm able to do these things. But I was able to do that coming from where I came from, and sit there and tell people, all you have to do is say, "I'm going to get up and go and do these things." Now, granted, you might have to overcome some things and fix some things in your life, but you can. And that right there, they will find health, their wealth, their happiness. They might not be rich, they might not be, Paris Hilton rich, but they're enough wealth to say, "Okay, I have home, car, I can have a cat and afford to give it cat food, and a little garden or tomato plant, and be happy with that, their own wealth, and just be able to inspire people that it's all in your own hands. you have it. It's there. You can find those things. You can find that contentment no matter what your situation is. It's absolutely there. And I'm happy to say that I have helped some clients do that, just in their situation, just talking them through their case, going, okay, you need to do this. And if you do that, you'll be okay. And they listen to me, they believe me, and it's just so nice to know that they're doing well. So that's, my answer to that.
That's your gift.
That's my gift.
Wealth with everything else too.
Well, it comes together. Health, wealth, and happiness. It comes together, and you can do it for yourself. You can absolutely do it for yourself. You just got to do it. It's like that silly little, that stupid little thing from, we all watched it when we were kids. You have to get it on YouTube or whatever now. The Santa Claus is coming to town, little puppets. You put one foot in front of the other. The little Santa Claus puppet, and he saves, he converts the old bad winter wizard. And then soon you'll be walking out the door. You're gonna have to watch it. It's as simple as that little scene, Mickey Rooney was the voice for the little Santa Claus. You gotta watch it. It's so inspiring, He just the old man Winter's trying to take Santa Claus out, and Santa Claus melts his heart by giving him a toy. And it was before Santa was actually really Santa. It's the history of Santa. You gotta watch it. It's history. You gotta, but Santa, says if you put one foot in front of the other, soon you'll be walking through the door. That's all you got to do to find happiness in those little things.
So we have a question from our previous guest.
What would your perfect day look like?
I will have to say it's a day that I'm not working. It would be a day that I could spend just sitting outside by the garden, reading a book during the day by the garden. In the evening, probably playing one of my instruments in my little studio area, and then meditating. I know that sounds like very boring to a lot of people, like, oh, you don't want to go out and socialize. You don't want. No, that would be the best day. Probably like a little bubble bath in the middle of that somewhere. For me, that peace, that quiet, and doing those things that soothe my soul.
April, you are awesome. I just sat here and enjoyed you just as much as I know our viewers is going to, just mesmerized by your stories. And oh my gosh, you are such, and have always, from the moment I met you, and then I remember you from years ago, of how just dynamic that you were then. And I'm so tickled to have you as a guest today. I thank you so much.
Well, Christine, I really I was looking forward to this, and I'm honored to be here because, as a young girl, I was always, I always admired you. You were always, you had the perfect hair. You were so pretty and smart. And I was so, I wasn't a bad kid, but I didn't behave, and I always wish I could, it was so much, you always had it together. And to be here on your podcast and to share in this experience with you is really a great thing. And I'm excited to see how people react to it. And I'm excited to see this thing grow for you. And it's wonderful. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. So we'll see April again, I hope.
Yes, ma'am.
For more anecdotes and fun, just tune in again.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.